Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zaks Traders Cafe for Friday, the 18th of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has managed to break, at least temporarily, that May resistance line. That was an irritating feature and has been for the last few months. 83.40 now the level there. Want to stay above that level. While we do so, then we're looking for the top of that rising trend channel at 8700 as soon as the end of next month. On the downside, now hoping nothing lower than the 50-day moving average rising there at 82.80. RSI rebound at neutral 50 was the leading indicator on the upside that we've had, and hoping that there will be proper follow through on the market. Moving on to the DAX, and here there has been a very strong performance, and we are now finding support at and above the old September resistance, 19,500, while we're above that, looking for the top of the rising trend channel, now up to nearly 20,400, and looking for that by the end of next month. RSI at 66 and not overbought yet, which means there's a bit of scope for moving up to the top of that channel. Worst case at the moment, I suppose, down to the midweek support there, just below 19,300. Moving along to the Dow, and here I think we've had record highs, at least intraday, for this market, and looking for the top of that channel there, 43,000, well, nearly 43,600, and looking for that hopefully by the end of this month. Clearly the election, or the run-up to that, the presidential election, helping them matters here, and looking for support to remain near 42,700. Worst case is that we've got to dip back to the 42,000 area before we hit the top of that channel. Bitcoin also looking quite decent at the moment. Here, just hitting a bit like the FTSE, really hitting the top of the falling trend channel that we've had there since the spring. 68,000, the magic number, and so we're trying to break through that on a weekly close basis, ideally, and then hit the top of, well, that resistance line projection there from back in June. It's basically the top of a triangle at 75,000, hopefully by the end of next month or even sooner. Ideally, the downside now limited to that initial October peak there around 64,700. Moving on to gold, and here the runaway move continues. Rising trend channel there, steeper one than we've had from before, up to 2,800. Looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the floor of the channel now, 2680. Worst case at the moment is looking down to 2620, which was the initial September resistance. Moving on to the stocks, and Cloudcoco was covered here last weekend, and managed a 2x after that, which was obviously very gratifying. Current situation is that we're trying to find support basically at the old resistance area around 0.35. We've gone a bit lower than that, but given that most stocks which rise on the market tend to be hammered and come back sort of 50% to 80%, this is doing relatively well. End of day close back above the range of Wednesday around 0.35 could be the signal that we retest the 0.5 area. Obviously we've backed off from the 200-day moving average at 0.47, so that is the key area in focus on the upside. This stage early and end of day close back below 0.3, yesterday's floor, really delaying the upside scenario. Moving on to Chariot, and here we're hoping that we're in a little mid-move consolidation, a bull flag, basically based around the top of the gap down that we had in September, so around 2.9 pence. Want to stay on the right side of that and then get up to the 50-day line there, just around 4.1 pence. But bear trap in terms of the gap recovery that we've had, and hoping that we can make progress from here after the slack is taken up. Capital Metals is next, and it did what we wanted it to do, i.e. go back to the old support, which it did earlier in the month. Now we've got what I call a sideways shuffle. Shares above, finding support above a rising 50-day moving average. That is hinting that we might have a second attempt at retesting the 2.5 pence area, perhaps by the end of next month. If you're cautious, you wait for an end of day close back above the resistance at the beginning of the week at 1.9 pence. Somebody on Twitter talking about the Trump trade, so Ferrexpo could be a winner if Trump gets into power. Here you can see that we've got neckline resistance being broken at 50 pence. Above that, we're looking for the top of the triangle there from April, as high as 63 pence by the end of next month. Hemogenyx is next, and here a bit of a roller coaster in terms of the price action, but it's having another go at recovery and a decent move today. Got the 50-day moving average at 1.4 pence as the initial block, and above that, then looking for a retest of 1.8, 1.9 pence, hopefully over the next 2 to 4 weeks. Ideally, we stay on the right side of resistance on the way down at 1.2 pence on a mid-close basis. MicroSalt is next, and just when you thought it was down and out, the shares rebounded basically from, but just below the the IPO level, around 45 pence, went down to towards 30 pence, but we've broken a line of resistance there from July. That's at 50 pence. Above that, we're looking for the 200-day line at 75 pence. Perhaps some contracts or etc. will come in for that particular situation and save the day. In terms of support, today's low at the moment, 47 pence, and that would be the deep, or just below there would be a stop loss on the recovery argument. Moving on to mobile streams, which has been requested by an ardent follower. Here we've got the shares basically maxed out at the highest levels, which is great. As I said before, normally stocks that rise vertically have a 50-70% retracement. This one hasn't. Our old target there was 0.33, and that leaves us trying to look for the next level up, which is actually quite difficult to do given that we've come up so quickly in the recent past. But the next level here, really 0.5 pence would be the target for the shares, while we remain on the right side of 0.3, 0.5, the old 2022 resistance on the shares. Stonking deal yesterday from announced at the wrong time of the day from Metalnrg. Here we've come back from the spike level that we had up to 0.7, and we were previously looking for 0.6. Next level up, if we manage to get back above 0.6, is up to 0.9, but we'll have to see where the support comes in. I suppose logically it would happen above the 0.4 level, which is the uptrend line there from back in May. Onto Mosman, which has revived itself. It's done what we wanted it to do. Here we gapped down, but then we closed. We had a gap close buy signal, 0.042. Next level was the resistance line there from July, 0.048, and above that, we're really looking for the shares to head back to the highs of July towards 0.08, and hopefully do that by the end of next month. On to the last two. The first one is Primorus, and here it was a star at the beginning of the year with the vertical move in January and February. Looks like we're back in business again with rising 50 and 200-day moving averages. We gapped up at the end of August, and we've held the top of that gap, which is a very strong signal, as is the rising 50 and 200-day lines. And looking for the top of the channel there at 7.2 pence to be hit as soon as the end of next month. There's a gap top there at 5.25, which would be the initial target for those who are more conservative. Finishing off with SRT, which has also done us proud. Here we're bouncing off the top of the gap there, a gap higher as well today, so that suggests that a new leg is on its way. Top of the upper parallel of the rising trend channel from November up to 62 pence. We're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of 40 pence. That's it for me today. More updates over the weekend.